Okay, so you're gonna have to excuse the fact that I don't have like good background footage because you're just gonna be staring this for a while. So maybe I'll tab, maybe close your phone. I don't know. Just keep listening. But Silverwolf has probably been the most hyped character in Honkai Star Rail I've ever seen. No one has ever said a negative thing about her, and unfortunately, I'm going to do that right now. And no, I'm not being contrarian to be contrarian, okay? I'm not being Sekapoko who's saying Dea is better than Ito. Like, oh my god. But listen or pay attention. Hopefully, you'll understand why I don't understand why people think Silverwolf is so good. So, Silverwolf's main gimmick is the weakness ad. And to preface this, I will be assuming that you already understand Silverwolf's kit, so I'm not gonna freaking explain the kit to you. So, her weakness ad, while it sounds good on paper, the problem is it's RNG based on your team element composition. So, basically, the more elements you put into the team, the more different elements, the more inconsistent the weakness add will be for the weakness you want to add, the specific one. So, if you have two different elements, say quantum and lightning, you're gonna have a 50-50% chance on hitting lightning or quantum. Same thing with this. Same thing with the background footage. You're on a 50-50% chance to hit quantum or to hit physical. And if you have three different elements, it's a 33% chance. If you're running rainbow and you have no repeating elements, it's going to be a 25% chance for to hit the correct weakness add. But the biggest problem is weakness add can add the same weakness that Silverwolf adds. Now, this doesn't make any sense, but let's use the background footage as an example. So, since there's physical and there's quantum, Silverwolf can use her skill, but the problem is that you can add the same weakness, you just add it. So if Silverwolf hits for quantum, she can hit quantum again and again and again and again, or she can hit physical again and again and again and again when you want to hit the opposite element. And there's no like pity or no guarantee to get a different kind of weakness add. So you could be omega unlucky, get physical or one element for 5 turns straight and like Lamau. But even then, weakness break, I believe, is omega overrated, and you basically risk breaking tempo with your supports breaking toughness instead of DPS. So your supports may break toughness, and your DPS may not have the option to actually attack while their weakness broken. Even if you break with your DPS, there's not enough of a duration or a window of time to take advantage of it again. So it's like, why? And look, I did the same thing. I was bat chesting over weakness break. I was thinking, oh my god, weakness break. Holy, I got a IC meter. I gotta bring it all down. And I just realized, yeah, breaking toughness is like it doesn't give you anything. Like sure, it gives you a debuff, but it's like you get so little out of it. And now the team. People say you can run any team you want with Silverwolf. No, because of the randomness of her weakness add, you're limited with the amount of elements you have to have in a team that are different. So you're forced to run characters of the same element, or you get a worse consistency of the weakness add. So, for example, Silverwolf plus 1 DPS is like a team comp, but you're forced to have your tank or healer to be the same element or damage type as the DPS, or Silverwolf, or you suffer from consistency. Like, if you have Blade and Silverwolf, that team comp would not be compatible with current units. There's no wind healer or tank. But you could say future units will fix this problem, you know? You'll have more characters with more elements, but not really, since you'll be forced to build units of specific elements rather than using characters you've already built. If you're using Silverwolf and Blade, you can't use Tingyun or Bronya. If you're playing Hook, you can't use Tingyun or Bronya. You'd be forced to build Asta instead. And if you invest resources into Asta, that's not resources you can get back. Now, you could say, oh, but relic farming is rough. It's really, really RNG, and I wouldn't be able to gear other characters and stuff. Well, if your Hook gets power creep, you could just switch Hook's gear into the newest fire DPS character, because relics are relatively generic for their archetype. Like if you use quantum set on quantum DPS, it's gonna work. If you use fire set on fire DPS, it's gonna work. And you can just move your relics. This is not the same for supports or what are they called? I forgot the skills. Traces. When you invest into a trace, you ain't getting that back. And you're led to a situation where you build supports for Silverwolf instead of building Silverwolf for your teams. So yeah. Now you could do one mono quantum versus all of the entire game, but if you wanted to use it for like quantum's set, like the quantum relic set, defense shred is already easy to get with Silverwolf, making it pretty redundant. And even then, you would not bring quantum teams to quantum resistant enemies. Like you wouldn't bring Yanqing to Cocolia when Cocolia has 60% ice resistance. Like bruh, I would be okay if Silverwolf was able to apply weakness add. Well, it would at least soften the blow. To be honest, like the banner read's still ripped off, but like it would hurt a little less if her attacks and her weakness add was AOE. But no, she's hard single target only. Now you're also gonna say, oh, but bosses are only single target. No. A lot of bosses summon smaller enemies, and when the game gets more difficult, or like the content is more difficult, they're just as tanky, and they're really tanky. So you're gonna be debuffing the boss, but you can't debuff the smaller enemies. And if you're in a situation where you need to kill the smaller enemies to actually weaken the boss, you can't exactly do that. Pella is a character that is I would compare to Silverwolf, but Pella has a lot less defense shred, but she has more AoE. But she's pure AoE on her defense shred, making her overall better if you have if you have AoE target damage. Silverwolf has the additional bugs, and to be honest, they're kind of meh. So, bugs have a 65% base chance of of applying on a target, and also another 65% base chance when you break a target or break an enemy. But the problem is, 2 out of 3 buffs are basically useless. Attack down is useless, and speed down is useless. Why? It's because Memory of Chaos. Memory of Chaos turns is not based on enemies taking action. No. I've seen a C6 Welt perma-stun enemies, and turns were still passing. Defense down is actually pretty good, but the problem is it's a 33% chance to get it, and you have no consistency or no guarantee to get it. So you don't want attack, you don't want speed, you only want defense down, but you have to contend with gambling. And that's what Silverwolf kind of is. Gambling. Are you going to get the correct weakness add? Are you going to get the correct bugs? How much bugs are you going to apply on the enemy? Stuff like that. And even if you could get extremely lucky, you're still extremely limited on the team comps you have to build. If you're forced to build characters to fit into the team you're playing with Silverwolf, you can't just run like generic staples like Tingyun, Bronya, Gepard, or Natasha. You're punished for building multiple element teams. It's the same thing like with Nilou in Genshin Impact. If you decide to run characters outside of Hydro and Dendro with Nilou teams, you can't use Nilou's passive. And this is to balance her out, but it's just a stupid restriction where you can't do Quick Bloom with it. Ugh. And yeah, the most important thing is consistency. Hypothetically, even if Qingque had the same damage output as Seal, Qingque wouldn't be as good as Seal because Qingque is very inconsistent. And if you're in a situation where you start gambling and you burn a lot of SP, Lamau, you've burned SP and you got nothing out of it and you have no backup plan. So yeah, that's gonna be it for me. If you made it this far, appreciate it, especially with me like being extremely, well, not extremely negative. I think Silverwolf is a good character. It's just that she's not okay. Expectations are everything, and if you're expecting Silverwolf to be godlike S tier must pull the Kazuha of Honkai Star Rail, I would say I'm very disappointed. But she's not the worst character, she's usable. She's not her levels of like awful, but still. Thanks. See y'all later. Bye.